Welcome. Good morning and good afternoon to all, depending on your time zone. This is the first of a series of webinars organized by CMCC, the Euro-Mediterranean Center on Climate Change. All the webinars will take place every last Tuesday of the month. Today, we have with us Silvia Medri, who will talk about informing and supporting climate policy, the European Topic Center on Climate Change Impacts, Vulnerability and Adaptation. My name is Valentina Giannini. I have joined the CMCC Foundation almost 10 years ago now, and my research in these past 10 years has been focusing on decision-making and participatory processes, and more recently, on how to increase the resilience of cities, the latter based on my 8 years work experience as an architect and planner. Silvia Medri is Senior Scientific Manager at the CMCC Foundation. Her work focuses on the interface between climate change science and policy, in particular concerning climate change adaptation. Silvia holds a degree in physics, complemented by a high-level education course on environmental cooperation and sustainable development policy, involving climate change international and European policy, a master on integrated coastal zone management, and a training course on information technology, all accomplished at the Bologna University. She has participated in European research projects on climate change, and she has been involved in international relations and negotiations as a member of the Italian delegation of the UNFCCC, and she has also supported the work as the Italian focal point in the IPCC. She is currently manager and coordinator of the European Topic Center on Climate Change Impacts, Vulnerability and Adaptation, and within this initiative, she has also been responsible for the work on the European Climate Adaptation Platform. So CMCC is a research foundation which was established in 2005, and in 2015 it became a research foundation. Its main mission is to investigate the climate system and to understand its impacts and implications with the society and economics. Ultimately, CMCC wants to provide scientific results which can then be used to protect the environment, to stimulate sustainable growth, and to develop science-driven mitigation and adaptation policies. CMCC is constituted of 8 research divisions based in 7 research centers and 7 cities. So having said this, I will give the floor now to Silvia Medri. We have 350 plus registered participants for this webinar, so the expectations are quite high, and the interest for the climate change adaptation topic is, as we've seen, very relevant. So Silvia today will talk about informing and supporting climate policy, the European Topic Center on Climate Change Impacts, Vulnerability and Adaptation. The floor is yours, Silvia.
Thank you very much, Valentina, and good morning, everyone. In the first half of this presentation, I'm providing an overview of this Topic Center on Climate Change Impacts, Vulnerability and Adaptation, shortly ETC-CCA, of the European Environment Agency that CMCC coordinates since 2011. In the second half of the presentation, I'm going to illustrate some examples of key activities where the CMCC Foundation adds a major role, with a special focus on the evaluation of the climate adaptation platform, but also on the enhancement of the coherence between climate change adaptation and disaster risk reduction, and on the work related to urban adaptation to climate change. So let's start with the overview. What the CCA is. In a very few words, it's a consortium of 14 European partners coordinated by CMCC, contracted by the European Environment Agency to assist the agency itself in its supporting and informing role of policy development and implementation in our area of expertise, by means of data, information, indicators, and assessments, as well as information systems. The main supported policy process being the EU Climate Change Adaptation Strategy. Before going into details of this European initiative, it is really needed to understand the framework within we work, and hence some due words on our contractor. The European Environment Agency, shortly EAA, is an agency of the European Union working at the interface between science and policy. Its mission is to support sustainable development and improvement of the European environment through the provision of timely, targeted, relevant, and reliable information to policymakers and the public. The EEA aims to provide sound decision basis in form of knowledge for EU and member countries' environmental policies by analyzing, assessing, and providing environmental related data and indicator sets, information, integrated and thematic assessments. The key stakeholders of the agencies are the EU institutions and governments, the Commission, the Parliament, the Council, and the EEA member countries, but also the scientific communities, business, civil society, and the general public. I've mentioned the EEA member countries, and here they are, 23 overall, including the 28 EU member states, plus 5 other European countries. Also, the EEA has 6 cooperative countries in the West Balkans. A major strength of the EEA is its network, the European Environment Information and Observation Network, briefly the IONET. It is composed by the EEA itself and the national representatives from its member and collaborating countries, and 6 European topic centers that carry out its work supporting the EEA in specific environmental topic area as defined in the EEA annual work program. The CMCC Foundation not only coordinates the ETC-CCA, but also is partner in the ETC on inland, coastal, and marine waters. So, the ETC-CCA is a center of thematic expertise contracted by the EEA to carry out specific tasks in the area of climate change impacts, vulnerability, and adaptation, as identified in the agency multi-annual work program and further specified in the annual work programs. As all the topic centers, it is designated by the EEA Managing Board through a public selection process, and the ETC-CCA consists of a lead organization and coordinator, in this case CMCC, both in the current EEA multi-annual period, which is the 2014-2018, as well as in the previous period. And a range of partners organizations coming from the research community and also information community that combined their expertise and resources to support the EEA, working really under the overall guidance, steering, and supervising role of the agency. We are part of and support today mentioned IONET, the EEA network, and as such, we work with a group of EEA staff in our daily work, but we also cooperate with member countries on a range of activities targeted to specific tasks of our work plan, including AONET consultation for the preparation of EEA reports, webinars, experts meetings, and so on. Who we are? Here is our consortium that actually in practice is run quite similarly to the common research projects, even if, as such, we don't carrying out direct research because we are working at the interface between science and policy. CMCC is coordinating these initiatives with the involvement of 5 research divisions: risk assessment and adaptation strategies, economic analysis of climate impacts and policy, impacts on agriculture, forests and ecosystem services, climate simulation and predictions, and regional model and hydrological impacts. Since we are supporting through our work the EA in assisting and evaluating the further development and implementation of the climate change adaptation related to the EU strategy on climate change, our tasks include the improving of harmonization of quality and exchange of data on climate change adaptation and disaster risk reduction in Europe. We are developing climate change impacts and vulnerability indicators. We are maintaining the Climate Adapt platform. We contribute to the production of mapping, analysis, evaluation, and assessments, and this part of our task also making capacity building in EA countries. We contribute to a range of EA products encompassing different themes and sectors. And all the knowledge produced in these outputs feed into the EA flagship report called the European Environment State and Outlook. The 2015 being the most recent and the 2020 being the next one. And now the second part of this presentation, focusing on some example of our activities. As I've said, we have a major focus on the evaluation of the climate adaptation platform. Hopefully you are already aware and possibly familiar with this knowledge platform that was launched in 2012 by the European Commission, DG Climate and EA to improve the sharing of adaptation knowledge across Europe. The intended target audience of the platforms are experts and decision makers and the EU transnational, national, subnational levels, as well as the research institutions. The management and maintenance of the platforms is in the hands of the EA and DG Climate. What the CCA is doing in this respect, we support the EA work of regularly maintaining, updating, and further developing the contents of the platform and some of its dissemination activities. CMCC here has also a major role because since the beginning we have been task manager of this task on the CCA site. With the involvement of the Risk Assessment and Adaptation Strategies Division, the Economic Analysis of Climate Impacts and Policy, and the Division on Impacts on Agriculture, Forest and Ecosystem Services. I have been the task manager of this work until last year. From this year, the task manager is Valentina Giannini, our moderator today. As a mean, about 10 experts annually from CMCC are working to this Climate Adapt work. The platform has a range of features and facility. The key ones being its database of quality control information, A range of tools, especially use the adaptation support tool, driving the user in all the steps of the adaptation support cycles, country profiles, cities information, and illustrative case studies that are considered particularly inspiring, as they are example descriptions of measures implemented on the ground, and the text for these climate adapt case studies are developed together with the actual local implementers. Of course, we present Climate Adapt presents the knowledge base on climate change impacts, vulnerability, and adaptation in New Europe, also from a sectoral point of view, also providing information on funding possibilities. If you wish to stay up to date with the relevant information and knowledge developments in this area, you can subscribe to the European Climate Adaptation newsletter. Climate Adapt is also acknowledged by the Climate Change Adaptation Strategy as a key element supporting a better informed decision making. Since last year, the Commission started the evaluation of the whole EU Climate Change Adaptation Strategy. This evaluation encompasses also the evaluation of Climate Adapt. Therefore, when we started our evaluation of the platform, we have ensured to consider this policy framework in our analysis. First of all, we assessed the achievement of the platform in its three core objectives: the facilitation of knowledge sharing, the assistance of knowledge uptake, and the contribution to a better cooperation. The methodology we use to carry out this evaluation combines either internal assessment and analysis of external feedbacks mechanism. We have analyzed, for example, the database and its coverage and gaps, the functionalities of the platform as elements of the self-assessment. And we analyzed the web statistics and carried out specific surveys of Climate Adapt users and information providers, as well as analysis of case studies used. In doing so, we tried to mainstream the results of all of these analyses into the key criteria and elements of the overall EU adaptation strategy evaluation, that are relevance, efficiency, effectiveness, coherence, and EU added value. In doing this evaluation, we found out that 5 are the key features that have been used by the Climate Adapt user, and are namely the database, the EU policy pages, the country pages, the adaptation support tool, and the Climate Adapt case studies. And also, we found out that indeed there was uptake of information, and that this information was indeed used to support policy making at different institutional sectors. As today, improvement, the objective of improving further cooperation, here we have considered the usefulness of Climate Adapt in ensuring complementarity with all the other relevant knowledge platforms, at the national and transnational as well as sectoral level. And we can say that also in this respect, this part of the Objective C was achieved. So what we're going to do with these results that of which I have just presented some examples. We are collecting the conclusions of this evaluation of climate adapt into an upcoming EEA report that will also inform the overall evaluation of the EU climate change adaptation strategy. Next steps include further to the publication of the report that has been already submitted to AONET consultation and experts reviews. Is the discussion, the presentation and the discussion of this of the main conclusions with the climate adapt user and providers, and with the EEA member countries. Also, the results of this climate adapt evaluation will be implemented into the updates of the climate adapt multi-annual work plan. And now another example of our activity related to climate change adaptation and disaster risk reduction. It was recently published by the EEA, the report on climate changes on the coherence of the knowledge base, policies and practices of climate change adaptation and disaster risk reduction. The report presents all of these features and the opportunities and benefits for linking climate change adaptation and disaster risk reduction in Europe. This is especially important because extreme weather and climate-related events are becoming more frequent and costly. For example, the total reported economic losses caused by weather and climate extreme events in the periods 1980 and 2015 in Europe amount to 433 billion euros, and only the 35% is insured. So indeed, reducing the impact to these natural hazards is considered, and contemporarily promoting and contemporarily working on climate change adaptation are considered top priorities for the European Union in order to increase, to reduce the impacts and increase preparedness. Here are examples of the opportunities for improvements that are really key now and in the future in Europe. CMCC contributed to this work by assisting the EEA in the overall report coordination, in the leadership, co-leadership of most of the report chapters, and also by contributing to specific chapters of the report, like the ones presenting the weather and climate related national hazards. The report presents key of them, that are heat waves, heavy precipitation events, river floods, windstorms, landslides, droughts, forest fires, avalanches, hail, and storm surges. CMCC contributed with its 3 research divisions on risk assessment and adaptation strategies, climate simulation and prediction, and regional model and hydrological impacts, with the head of the risk assessment and adaptation strategies division, Jaroslav Miziak, being one of the leading authors of the report. Another interesting activity I think we do within this ETC CCH under the overall leadership and coordination of the EA is the work related to urban adaptation to climate change. Working in this task, we could get the evolution on the urban adaptation knowledge in Europe from 2012 up till now, and realized that indeed, while the first assessments were focusing on challenges and opportunities in this area, then the most recent one are focusing on cities taking action to adapt to climate change. And this knowledge is also uptaken and presented in Climate Adapt through a range of tools. We contributed to the topic centers to these 3 main reports. The 2016 on urban adaptation to climate change, this 2017 report on financing urban adaptation, and also the just published ETC-CCA technical report on social vulnerability to climate change in European cities. The CMCC division contributing to this work is the economic analysis of climate impact policy, with our colleague Margareta Breil being also task manager of this activity on the ETC-CCA site. I'd like just to give a snapshot here of some of these works. The 2016 report analyzed multi-level governance, knowledge base, awareness, planning, economics, monitoring and reporting of urban adaptation to climate change in Europe. In the 2017 report analyzed 11 case studies that are inspiring for other cities on how to get finance for urban adaptation. And finally, we published this technical paper focusing on the state of play on research and policy addressing social vulnerability and justice in urban climate change adaptation. Indeed, one of the key messages emerging from the report is that adaptation and urban planning need to take into consideration these themes in order to avoid inequalities, especially on the most vulnerable people and sectors. And also, while unfortunately, while some pioneer cities in Europe have started taking action in this respect, in most of European cities, this topic there is still limited awareness of this topic and limited work on that. The contents of this document will provide input to an upcoming EEA report on social inequalities in relation to climate change impacts, air pollution, and noise. And that's it for the time being. Thank you.